designated purpose of it.
Yeah, or for speed dueling. If you're really, really good at...
Welcome back to the coverage of YCS Prague. We are now looking at round 3, and we got 2 decks in front of us. And my first question was, are these guys undefeated?
Yeah.
Because it is a bit of a mixed bag, so to speak. We got Dominik Reisinger from Germany on the one side, who's playing True Draco. Used to be a good deck.
Yeah.
And then we got Marjin van Duivenboden.
Okay, I'm glad you had to say that.
I'm pretty
and not
certain
me.
I nailed it, to be honest. But the Dutch people can, of course, come at me.
Duivenboden.
Duivenboden, who's
Duivenboden.
playing Infernoid. So two decks that are not exactly what we would expect going into this weekend.
Yeah.
One deck list is looking like ancient Egypt hieroglyphs. It's absolutely impossible. I mean, you guys cannot probably see that from there, but it's impossible to read. This is the Infernoid deck. So he has full access to every Infernoid card ever printed because nobody can read what he's actually written down on his deck list. It's a pretty neat strategy, to be honest.
Let's not encourage that.
I'm not encouraging that officially. Okay. So we could make sense of it to some degree, but we're not 100% sure what he's playing, which is weird. On the other side, the True Draco deck. Do we have any surprises there? The first surprise, of course, the whole thing is in German.
Is that Into the Void?
Into the Void, yeah. In die Leere.
Then that's a surprise.
Okay, here we go.
Weird,
But I
yeah.
guess it lines up with the Card of Demise as well, because you can just throw your whole hand out anyway. Yeah, I believe that's a Pot of Duality.
Yes,
And then
yeah.
this one is Desires.
Yes.
Top the...
Begierden
something.
and Gegensätzlichkeit.
Gänzlich Slate.
Gegensätzlichkeit.
Gänzlich
Yeah, we
Slate.
also have Storm.
Yeah, let's just move past that.
The Monarch Storm 4th, Sturmkraft der Monarchen, True Draco Origin. What's that in English? Origin of the True Dracos.
Oh, yeah, that would be the
True Draco Heritage.
Heritage. Yeah, it's always the same words.
Interestingly, in the trap lineup, he is main decking the anti-spell fragrance, which is... well, you just tribute them away, so it makes sense, because it would normally hinder your own strategy, but if you just tribute your continuous trap away for one of your True Dracos, that could work. It just seems weird to be playing it in a deck where you're playing 25 spells, 6 monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
Does it hinder his opponent more than it hinders him? That would be the question.
We're going to see that. And I would say let's not waste any more time because the main event has already started. So let's head over there to the feature match table and dive right into it.
So,
Marjin?
Marjin here actually is at a bit of a disadvantage because Void Imagination is going to be nowhere near as strong. Usually, Void Imagination would allow you to send, so you basically fusion summon using monsters from your main deck, similar to Shaddoll Fusion, whenever your opponent has an extra deck monster, or special summoned on the field. But obviously, True Draco just don't do that.
Right.
So that's going to be quite interesting. But he is also playing the Invoked engine, which was the...
We see a full set of the dice
Yeah.
on the bottom. I just have to point that out because it looks quite amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, we were actually just talking about that in our prize video, that it's rare to see.
Yeah.
And there you go.
There we go, yeah.
How do you get those dice, by the way?
You get them by pre-registering, but you only get one.
Ah, so you've got to go to... It's like a real ordeal of the Traveller, because you have to keep going. You don't know which one you're going to get.
Yeah. Well,
Can you say to the judge, I've already got the fire one. Can you give me a...
No, they're random. They come in random.
They come in random.
Random bags.
And I heard that the light and dark are worth more because they are rarer than the other ones.
Really? They short-printed dice?
I
mean,
spoke to
yeah, sure, we don't do that.
I spoke to some players. They told me
Okay.
this in confidence. They said, I want to have a light one this time. I have all the other ones.
I'm gonna leave that exactly where it is because I know exactly how many of each dice was manufactured.
The Pot Desires, the 10th card that gets banished, is that grass looks greener.
Ooh, that's rough.
Is there any copies of Left Arm Offering in that Infernoid deck?
There could be.
Yeah, okay, I walked into that one. That's fair.
Sorry, which guy are you looking for?
Yes, he does play Left Arm
Yeah, he's
Offering
playing
in his
3.
deck.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
It looks more like Left Own Jeffrey.
Like, honestly, I have no idea how this made it through the control with the judge. But fortunately, the judges have to write down their names, the initials on the deck list.
Yeah.
So I actually know who that is. And I'm
Yeah.
going to have a word with that
So
person.
but maybe he can read it.
She,
And then he goes,
she.
oh, she. So
I
maybe
can,
she
I
can
can
read
give
it.
that away. So that already narrows it down to, I think,
2.
Three.
Like a game of classic
Three?
Guess Who, isn't it? Where if you say, is it a girl? And all of a sudden there's only like 6 left. And you're like, someone's not thought this game design through, have they?
Yeah. All right. So Marjin is kicking things off. Dominik has nothing to stop his opponent from unleashing the havoc, so to speak. What's the Infernoid is a bit of a tricky deck to play.
Most would say no, but
Okay.
it's got its own subtleties. But as soon as you've got those kind of basic things about it down, then it's reasonably easy to pilot. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's got its own subtleties. You can't just take another deck that you already. You can't just like play Spiral and then immediately go and play Infernoid.
Well, you could, but you may not see success.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can.
I absolutely could do whatever
So
I want.
it's one of those different coulds. Yeah. You could do that, but you don't want to do that.
Yeah. It would be less than ideal.
Yeah, one day we're gonna publish like a dictionary for coverage terms and real language, and then you see that less than ideal means something else that you thought.
The polite way of saying this is terrible.
You're screwed.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, being able to summon a masterpiece and out the I forget the fusion monsters. The invoked monster's name, Mechabuzz, is really good because he didn't lose any cards in that. He also now has a masterpiece that's immune to spells and traps, which is great when Marjin, is that his name?
Marjin.
Marjin has a dark hole in hand. Marjin. Right, got it.
I only
Right.
know because I know a couple of guys with the same name. So, and I've done coverage with them. Apparently, they're pretty good players. Other games. Okay, so it's his turn. He just sets a card here. He looks to be standing a little bit with the back against the wall, staring down that gigantic masterpiece.
Yep. Leaving his monsters empty means that he can use Gamma to actually take out the True King because he's not he is affected by monsters. There we go.
Nice.
Masterpiece
That's
gets
really
tagged.
Good
Good
prediction.
Gamma.
Yeah. If you just get your crystal ball, you can make some money on the side, Matt.
Yeah. We already do that. Yeah, it's called the product development.
Okay, good to know. Do they have to pay like €1 for your predictions and everything?
It's a few more than a single euro. I'm not that cheap. But,
Maybe one of those. High class.
well, I don't have a jet, so it's not that great either.
Okay.
Kaiba does.
Somewhere in between.
That's why they spent all the money on the Kyber jet.
Yeah.
All right. Still.
Skill drain. That's going to slow things down.
Marjin just looked kind of upset about that.
Yeah, but Dominik doesn't really have any cards to work with here.
Yeah,
Like-
he slowed his opponent, but at the same time, he cannot really apply any pressure.
Put that masterpiece where it belongs, well out of range of being ever summoned back.
So here we have big monster
Yeah.
dealing some damage very soon.
Yeah, Mechaba's not actually too scary in this matchup. Because, you know, he just needs to, Dominik here just needs to draw a monster that's bigger than Mechaba, and Mechaba's not that big. He's only got 2,500 attack points.
But Dominik is... what's his card in play?
The
face down.
Disciples of True Kings, True King's Heritage, and Skill Drain. Okay, so he's literally needs to draw an out.
Yeah, he needs to draw a monster.
And we don't have that information yet. The other card in hand was another Heritage.
How does he have 2 cards in hand? He played Into the Void. End of the turn, you discard your whole hand, so he couldn't have had any cards in his hand at the end of last turn. So
Okay, maybe that is the card he drew.
Oh,
Yeah, no, no. He did have that in hand, and he drew and set True Draco Apocalypse.
yeah, he set 2 cards, tribute him for Masterpiece. That's free.
Yep.
He played Into the Void, which replaces itself. He's then had 3 cards set face down. Okay, I may have miscounted something there. I just thought I can't see a way he could have had 2 cards in his hand because the Ash Blossom got played on the Heritage as well.
Right.
I think
But
Dominik might get just beaten up here.
yeah, it looks like he's about to shuffle up almost.
He has to draw he has to roll some gas here.
Mm.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Halves his opponent's monster's attack. Shuffle 3 cards back.
Yeah,
We're going to have a
it's
draw.
Okay. What is he looking for in an ideal situation?
Masterpiece number 2 would be amazing for him. Getting stung by that gamma. I think actually Dominik got greedy there when he tried to use the Masterpiece in the end phase. Because his monster was unaffected by spells or traps, his opponent passes with no monsters. So the Masterpiece is not threatened by these cards at all.
Yeah.
And Gamma being so prevalent in this format is a definite possibility. Oh, wow, he hits the diagram off the top.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's a
Marjin
skill
has
drain
no
as well.
spells.
But there's also a
And skill drain, yeah, I guess. Oh, wow. This is actually going to turn right around now.
Look at that.
Why didn't he get Masterpiece?
He has 3 copies of Masterpiece. He chose not to. He's half the attack of his opponent's monsters. With his True Draco Apocalypse.
Yeah. It seems odd that he didn't.
It's just double checking again and confirming, it seems. So what's the logic here? Why
Okay,
would
I
you
can
go
see
for
why
it?
he's done for this. So the reason you would do this is your opponent. No, wait, he's got skill drain in play, so that's not even going to work. But what I was going to say, if skill drain wasn't in play, is that your maiden gets you your masterpiece that you can then summon in your opponent's turn and use the destruction effect on your spell and trap cards in your opponent's turn, and then have masterpiece additionally to take a card out.
But skill drain.
Skill drain is not going to allow maiden to be able to search.
Yeah.
So masterpiece, if Dominik was intending to leave up the skill drain, probably would have been stronger.
Yeah. That seems strange.
I'm just going to write that down real quick for our post-game interview. We can't quite make sense of why he went that way, unless there's something we forgot here, but it doesn't look like it, does it?
It usually is, with me anyway. Usually forgotten something.
I guess, yeah, well, if he wants to leave the skill drain up, he could have got rid of two Draco cards. Yeah, I feel like Masterpiece would have been stronger.
I do as well, Matt. I concur.
Thank you, dear Watson. I wish the answer was elementary, and we'd then know the reason for this line of play.
I think he never said that, actually, in the books.
Did he not?
It's just a very common misconception. All right, so Marjin, it's his turn. He can almost do everything he wants here.
He was like absolutely not going to allow those dice to be anything other than on the element side.
And maybe those are his lucky dice.
Okay, Minerva. Minerva's going to mill when she is destroyed. But she can't do it right now. Was it a cost to mill with Minerva? I don't think it was.
No, it's he's just attaching a material.
No, it's many detach, I think, then she...
Yeah, I think she mills as a cost. Sorry, as an effect, not as the cost. She detaches as a cost.
Okay, True Draco Apocalypse being destroyed. That's potentially now going to pick up Masterpiece.
When she detaches, you send the top 3, and then you draw cards.
Yeah, so it's an effect.
Yeah.
It gets negated by skill
send.
damage.
In her case, in his case, he doesn't draw any cards.
Yeah, now he'll be able to mill though because it's in the graveyard. Oh,
He
Fairy
hits
Tale Snow's
Fairy Tale
pretty good.
Snow. That's huge.
Well, skill drain.
Yeah, that's true. It depends on how Dominik wants to get this Masterpiece on life. I think he kind of now has to give it monster immunity because of the Trickstar. Not the Trickstar, the Fairy Tale in the graveyard.
Yeah.
They're also whimsical. I get them all mixed up.
Yeah, I must admit, I as soon as I thought, I was like, why has he got that mixed up? And I was like, oh yeah, because they're all kind of magically creatures. I do the same. I connect different, different monsters in different ways.
Yeah, funny how the brains are working.
Yeah.
So here we see a pot of duality added to his hand that he just drew.
His opponent's really low on life as well.
Both
Yeah.
of these guys. Are
Bo
really
yeah, I was about to point it out. When did they take that much damage?
I think they've just been slowly but surely, like,
Bit for bit,
yeah.
tit for tat.
You don't realize, do you, when that kind of thing happens? You just slowly but surely take a little bit of damage. Here, a little
Card
bit.
of demise. That seems pretty legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
He's got no other cards in hand, has he? Oh, no, he's got 3 cards in hand.
Yeah, he's got a couple of cards.
Okay,
yeah.
so maybe not card of demise snap pick, but the anti-spell fragrance could be something worth considering.
Yeah, I mean, his opponent is already hindered by the skill drain. He has the biggest monster on the field, of course. And if you also shut down your opponent's trap spell cards, at least for half a turn, so to speak, or for 1 turn,
Yeah.
that could put Marjin really into a position. It's a 1-turn thing at that point in time.
Well, to try and get these attacks through, there's a fairy tale that can come back and block an attack. But that would be quite a few graveyard resources given up to...
Yeah, and without the second effect, of course, that switches the position of a monster, Fairy Tale Snow becomes a much worse card.
It takes a hit pretty well, but it doesn't do a lot. There's a masterpiece.
So maybe this was all an elaborate plan by Dominik. He wanted to get to that masterpiece, but first he wanted to have another monster. I'm not sure.
Want to give it monster immunity. Which makes sense with the Infernoid deck, but he has a skill drain up anyway. So.
Yeah. Right, where do you go from here if you're sitting in Dominik's position?
Probably just going with that attack. I don't know if you need to go up to masterpiece.
Can he
Yeah.
finish? He cannot special summon this turn because of Pot of Duality.
Yeah, he can tribute summon. Okay. Oh, he gets rid of the skill drain. That's super interesting.
Yeah, because now Fairy Tale Snow's going to come and just put Masterpiece face down.
Yep. But then the Maiden will be able to trigger and then search for another masterpiece.
This is a
Very
very interesting match in a way. Like, at first it seemed all very straightforward, and now all of a sudden it's not.
Can you bring up Anunchu? I always get mixed up between Anunchu and Deviati.
It's the 3,000 attack clears your monsters.
Anunchu is the monsters, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so you can just play Anunchu and then clear out his board and attack for game. Right?
Yeah, because there's no monster immunity.
No.
If he's got as long as he's got enough Infernoids to banish,
Yeah.
that's definitely a line.
Yeah, you only need 3.
Masterpiece actually had monster immunity, or the
maybe-
skill drain would have been left in place.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't have enough Infernoids. I didn't see enough, to be honest.
I saw just one so
yeah,
far.
maybe not.
Could he have summoned it any other way? Yes.
Why is Fairy Tale Snow... did he get hit by Masterpiece?
Yeah, he summons it and then
Masterpiece.
Dominik chains
Yeah,
to
yeah.
destroy it.
That's fair.
Sounds like it. So Marjin is standing with his back against the wall, really, with
Yeah,
just Level Eater and Infernoid Onuncho in hand.
If he draws like...
He's got the Apocalypse that he does from his
feast.
third Dodgerianic diagram, so now he can tribute summon in his opponent's turn. And there's anti-spell fragrance blocking out any spells.
This looks
Yeah.
really, really good.
And he's
for
got a
Dominik.
masterpiece in hand. Yeah, Dominik...
Dominik's looking pretty good right
Yeah,
now.
he's been planning this.
Yeah.
It looks like he had a game plan here.
Yeah, I thought it was Harmodic. So he's going to be able to play Harmodic at least.
So this is looking
rough.
very good for the German. But the Dutch,
Yeah.
speaking of Dutch duelists, in the previous round, Yuri is actually from the Netherlands.
Yeah.
He's just, I think he's wearing a shirt, and it's with the emblem of his local game store, which is located in Antwerp, which is located in Belgium.
Yeah.
And then I think the judge assumed that he's from Belgium. So I'm burying the lead here. We have a winner in the first game, that is Dominik Reisinger. He is now ahead. You can see it on his face, although both of these players are actually not completely looking grim.
No.
Now for a second, Marjin was like, okay,
Yeah.
I can look grim if you need me to. So that worked quite well for the true Dracos.
That'll be interesting to see how they choose to side deck, because neither of them should be terribly prepared for each other. However, Dominik is playing cards like Prohibition in his side deck,
Yeah.
and Imperial Iron Wall.
Random.
That's just another.
What's going on with people's side decks today?
Yeah, it's
That-
like I have this random card that completely knocks out the opponent's deck.
Yeah. Even the
Why would you mean
invoked.
that? I would guess your Imperial Iron Wall against the Trickstar, so it can't take out your whole hand.
Yeah, I guess.
And then it just has a cross matchup application here, plus
Yeah.
Prohibition as
Pretty
well.
big one. A pretty big one. It stops you from summoning any Infernoids and any fusion monsters.
This is really crazy. People have some next level side decking skills this weekend.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before.
Which card is this one, Ollie?
Cosmic
Cosmic
Cyclone.
Cyclone, yeah.
Oh, Cosmic Cyclone. Not sure if that's coming in.
You were
against
not
Infernoid.
skipping your German classes.
It just
Yeah,
looks.
we did that earlier. Yeah, it looks very very close.
I know. While you were on hiatus, Ollie, I had to learn some German
Oh,
cards.
okay.
I thought it was a Cosmo card.
See.
And I was just like, that can't be right. I'll ask Ollie.
Yeah. Well, and here for once I thought I was missed.
Oh.
He just replaced me.
With
Just
Luke's
learned,
awful.
just learned German by yourself, and never thought this could happen. This is the one thing I wasn't prepared for.
The letters are too hard to say, though. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I don't
with
know.
German.
That's completely not true.
It's very difficult for someone like myself to.
No, it's very. The thing is, it's a fault of the English language.
Yeah, you've opened a rabbit hole. The German letters are actually really easy to say if you learn them like in German.
No. The problem is,
Because they're all the same.
the problem is like without irony or anything, it's the English language.
Yeah.
If you look at there's this notation how to pronunciate words, and half the words in English they have this one character which is like a nothing sound, which is like just it's like in the middle of the throat. And there are people who are like studying language and everything, and there was one guy like doing an interview, and he said like all the Western languages they have like proper defined vowels and everything. Like you have to move your tongue from one end of the mouth to the other to speak those words. And English is just like you're staying in the middle the whole time, so you're lazy. It's like so it's only which. Yeah, it's like in the middle of it. And that's why the English people are less used to speaking proper letters, pronouncing proper letters, compared to all the other guys.
Right. Because I still can't say right in German. All I can say is nicht links.
Richtig.
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 It's not that hard.
Did I say it right?
No.
There you go. See, then it is that hard.
but in German, right, you always have this, like you always use the same sounds regardless of where the letter is within a word.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
true.
we don't have that in English.
Yeah.
You can say like read and read, like they're two completely different words.
Yeah.
They're the same words. You wouldn't get that in German.
We don't
'cause
have
they're
that.
exactly
No,
the same.
We have
letters.
different spellings for different words. We're not like you guys.
Yeah.
All right. We can also have a few more German players in our post-match interviews because they tend to speak German half the time when
Yeah.
we ask them English questions. So you can ask them. So and this
Did that
is what you
happen
were.
today already?
Yeah. This is what you were aiming for. Ja genau. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Genau was the first German word
Genau
I
is the
learned.
first German word everybody
I
learns.
was-
Yeah.
And the second German word that you should be learning is doch.
Doch.
Doch is a very beautiful German word. That doesn't just mean no, it means no, you are wrong and I am right. And you have all of that in one word.
How efficient.
It's super efficient. It's like the most German word that I can come up with.
My favorite German word is Schadenfreude. I always say it wrong.
Schadenfreude. No, it was very, very.
Okay.
That's when you like it
Precise.
when someone hurts himself, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
take pleasure in
taking
their
pleasure
misfortune.
in someone else's misfortune.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they have like German people have a word for that. And that's just
Yeah.
hilarious.
Of course. And we have an entire monologue by Alan Shaw from Boston Legal about that one word.
Oh really?
He's making a case in front of a judge, and he's like, Schadenfreude, the German word, getting joy out of blah, blah, blah. And he's just going on forever. Yeah, but back to the match. So this time, it's Dominik going first again. Is going first again, right? Yeah,
Yeah, it looks like Dominik's taking the first turn.
no,
He-
Marjin was going first in the first game, I think. I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, he has a decent start. There are things happening.
Yeah,
Obviously,
he's-
searching. That is always a good start.
He's got the card of demise.
Yeah, he's
and
gonna be able to cut him out.
well.
Well, pretty good.
Pretty good. Almost ideal. Oof, that hurt.
It's It's my favorite thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, where you ask someone if it's okay, and they go, yeah, it's okay, but it's not okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like card of demise. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. It's like
It
but
resolves.
It
It's
resolves.
like,
yeah.
From a technical standpoint, I
It
don't
is
have. Yeah.
This is allowed, but it's not okay.
It's
That's what people really should say.
definitely not okay.
Is there a German word for that?
There should be. If there isn't.
Of course there will be.
I'm thinking.
Okay, you think about that. So one of the people in the office who is not part of the Yu-Gi-Oh department recently been learning Yu-Gi-Oh and trying to explain that to her about the whole okay but it's not okay thing.
Oh, through me.
Yeah, she's Japanese, so didn't quite understand
Yeah.
like the mechanics behind me saying it's okay but it's not okay.
Yeah.
But now she gets it and finds it funny whenever she does it to me.
I would like my response would be something like I cannot stop it. Like you would like answer
Yeah,
the question with a
To be honest,
version.
to be honest, in English we do have a word for it. It's like, yeah, I'm going out with a few friends, and your wife or your girlfriend just says that's fine. You know, oh, yeah, you know that should be a red flag. That's the English word for it.
Yeah, that's true. But that only works when it's coming from
A
your
significant
girlfriend.
other.
Significant other, yeah. Although we're not. Can also come from the significant other in a man and man relationship.
Exactly.
So I was just making sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, we embrace diversity here.
yeah. If your partner says it's fine, it's really not. It's a trap, and whatever you're doing, you should stop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So
Void.
it looks really
Imagination,
awkward
is that-
that Dominik is left with just 2 cards. Oh, obviously that Raigeki
Void
was
banishment. Sorry.
That's
Wiping
banishment,
his
not
monsters.
evasion,
but
Oh, we're going to see that grass looks greener. With left arm offering not being answered, of course, very safe to play that against Dominik's card of demise deck because he just can't hold. He's just not going to ever hold cards in his hand.
Yep.
To have the Ash Blossom to negate that. So, can we look up Void Banishment?
I'm currently looking it up, but the internet seems to be failing me.
well, you can
So you
discard
guys have got
one
it even
card
closer.
and add 1 void spell or trap card from your deck to your hand,
Yeah.
except itself, or null and void because that's not a void card. Also, you cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of this turn, except Infernoid monsters. Not a big problem for this deck. You can only use this effect of this card once per turn, and if an Infernoid monster you control battles an opponent's monster after damage calculation, you can send this card to the graveyard, banish those monsters.
Yeah. So it's the primary purpose of it is to go and get Void Imagination, generally, or Void Feast.
That is a lot of cards, including Fairy Tale, Snow. Lots
That's
of
a
Infernoids.
lot of
That's
Infernoids.
a ton of Infernoids.
Yeah. There's at least like 7 Infernoids there.
Yeah, I don't know if Dominik's going to be able to keep up with the onslaught that comes
Yeah.
after this, to be honest.
Prediction here is that we're gonna have a 1-1 in just a second. If Marjin, if does Dominik have anything to stop this? He's got Card of Demise and Dragonic Diagram on the table, so nothing to stop this.
No, this is... it's also just the fact that... I was going to call him Marjin, but it's not his name.
Marjin.
Marjin has got a lot of fuel to go over a couple of turns if he needs to, and he even has the Fairy Tale Snow. If he doesn't OTK here, he also has a Snow that
Yeah.
he can bring back and attack as well.
It reminds me faintly of the Dragon Rulers. Once your graveyard was full,
Yeah.
this game was you had so many resources, you could do so many things. This is kind of similar.
Yeah, and there's now spell and trap negation under the deity.
So at one point, if you're Dominik, do you just
Yeah, you
shuffle
pick
up?
up-
There
yeah.
we go. At that point.
That's
Attack,
that's the
attack.
exact point, Ollie.
Okay, thank you for answering my question. It's like we got a mental connection here.
Yeah.
Well, they say great minds think alike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when he just milled 25 cards.
Okay. Well, that escalated very quickly with that grass looks greener.
Yeah.
So again, they are both looking at their side decks. This time it's going to be Dominik deciding who goes first. What would be your choice, Matt?
He's going first because he has Imperial Iron Wall.
Let's get all of those good cards that
He's
stop your
still
opponent.
playing tons of continuous traps that stops his opponent. Going first is absolutely the best decision for Dominik.
Okay.
I've just been handed a list of Magical Musketeer and 6 Samurai decks.
There's some playing.
There is. There's quite a few, actually. So
Any recognizable faces?
Norman Wilde is playing Magical Musketeers.
That is a recognizable face, yeah.
Yeah. Not so much on the other people.
What's his record, Mr. Wald?
I will check. I will check. and
I
let you know.
I meant on the in this tournament.
Yeah. I'm checking.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Not great.
He's playing on table 352.
Yeah.
Next to check Verma.
Check Verma, yeah.
Yeah, another player we know.
Yeah, I'm gonna check all of these for next round, and hopefully we should have a Magical Musketeer or 6 Samurai matchup.
Check Verma is that player from Berlin who's like 14 or by now probably, well, very likely 15 years old, who is like 1m90, something like that. He's ridiculously tall, and he's like half as young as me. It's kind of depressing to me.
Oh, I know people like that.
It's very awkward. Talk about a growth spurt. All right, so they are probably not going to exchange that many cards between side deck and main deck. I would guess probably only Marjin, because he's not going to go. He's not going to choose, and he's going to go second this time.
Yeah. Both of these players don't really have much.
Yeah, Dominik is at a massive disadvantage in the way that he can't prevent a left arm offering getting that grass screener, and from there the game just gets completely out of control.
Yeah.
He
so
needs an anti-spell fragrance.
yeah, he wants anti-spell fragrance, Imperial Iron Wall.
Imperial Iron Wall would be a blowout.
Imperial Iron Wall is great because I bet
Marjin.
Marjin is playing Cosmic Cyclone, right? In something?
I don't. Well,
Instead
it's
of
really hard
Mystical
to say.
Space Typhoon?
I can't spot it, which is not saying he's not playing it, but
Or in
even though the it's hard to make out what he's playing. No, I don't see it. Okay, side deck.
Marjin opened with that grass, looks greener.
But Dominik opened with Spell Fragrance.
Oh, saucy.
there is Twin Twisters in the
Oh,
side deck
wow.
of Marjin.
Dominik's opening hand is double Spell Fragrance, double Rivalry of Warlords, and
Rivalry of Warlords
so
is
reactive.
that's a
actually, I
surprise.
think we may have mistranslated that when we were putting the cards in. You know, you said the duel?
Yeah.
That could have been Rivalry of Warlords.
This was.
No, Rivalry of Warlords is actually on the list here. There's one here.
in
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's in
no,
English,
we
then that's good.
definitely didn't. No, it was.
That's an interesting
Evenly
choice.
matched.
I think Rivalry
Evenly
is
matched, yeah, that
less
I've never
of-
seen in German.
less effective in this matchup when your opponent's primary way of attacking you is with Fiends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he saw the invoked part of his deck.
Ah, okay, and decided it's actually worth it.
Yeah.
Well, it's also the question: how many cards can you really exchange?
Yeah, that's a lot of green cards you have in your hand.
That's okay. That's fine. Anti-spell fragrance is fine. Oh gosh, that's pretty rough. Set 5.
So, yeah, that's the big question. Is he gonna set everything? I mean, he has to, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
If he had drawn into a Twin Twister, that would have been phenomenal for him.
Yeah. Or like Samir Bachar drawn a Mystical Space Typhoon and gone to Worlds because of it. That was such a great match. in Berlin.
Yes, absolutely.
He just ripped it off the top and then went nuts.
There we go. He clears out his own anti-spell fragrance, so
That's
he can get
good.
away with a Pot of Desires.
Well, he has 2, so he can afford that. It's so unfair, like making your opponent play around the anti-spell fragrance, and then just when your opponent thinks like, now I can go off, just flip the second one. Although,
Yeah.
of course, at the moment it doesn't make such a big difference because
Those cards would have been set.
Yeah, Marjin's got like instant impact cards at this point. He's got a 1-for-1, he's got Grasshook Screener. He's going to be able to Magical Meltdown to get the Invoked Engine. Obviously, he's going to summon the Alistair and then get Invocation and not be able to play Invocation because of the anti-spell fragrance, but that's okay.
There's
So-
also Rivalry of Warlords to consider there as well.
Yeah.
So Dominik doesn't really have anything to stop his opponent here, does he?
Not really. I mean, yeah, there's the other anti-spell. But yeah, he's going to start with that. That's a much better way of starting because he can... what's the name of the Infernoid? The small Infernoid. The level 1.
Oh, we're about to see it
Is
get
it-
loaded in.
Decatron.
Decatron,
Just
that's
seeing
it.
the picture tells me the name. Decatron can send the
Anything to the
Anunchu
graveyard? Yeah.
and get its effect.
Get its
so he
effect.
can use Decatron to negate any further plays. But at this point, Dominik has actually shown everything he's got on the back row.
I remember Decatron from games where the opponent was playing Reasoning,
Yeah.
and then
Because calling one was actually the correct move.
Yeah, calling one is the correct play, yeah.
And there's that grass looks greener.
It's the only situation where calling one is the correct choice.
I think he sent
Yeah, you see that.
Yeah, you can see, he's rearranging the chair and everything. He's like getting comfortable here. He's like
feeling like a boss.
Yeah, he's like, now I'm going to have fun with you.
Marjin actually changed what he sent with Decatron. He's got, I think that's Petrulia. I don't know if you can check the graveyard. No, the judge didn't put it in there.
Not yet. He's on it.
Yeah, so Petrulia can take out that other back row. That's the one behind Majesty Maiden.
Yeah, but it's funny when you can see by the speed of how somebody's playing that they are feeling confident and they feel like, I got this. And this is exactly what's happening here. Looks like a great comeback for Marjin von Duivenboden from the Netherlands after kind of weak start in the first game.
19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 7, 28, 29, 30.
It's like a deck feature.
31,
it's like
32.
So
we just need somebody to talk over all of those cards. Yeah, this is one of the key cards here. This is also really good.
You want this some of the time, but not all of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play 2.
And put them all in the bin.
Yeah.
There wasn't too many Infernoids. So there was a bunch. Sorry, I was just thinking, hang on a minute, was there any of the big ones?
Does he need the big ones? Is it just going to be quantity over quality?
Yeah, so he's not going to be able to play that Invocation.
Not this turn.
Yeah, but how much of a hindrance is that really? When he can... He's got so many resources now.
Yeah,
as long as he can stay alive, there's no way he's going to lose this game.
Yeah.
And maybe he can even win it right here.
Yeah, very clever. He's overlaying the level 4 Decatron, because it's now level 4, because he sent Petrulia. I think it was Petrulia that he sent.
And
I could be wrong.
Yeah, it needs to be, right?
Banishing 3 Infernoids. And when that's summoned, I believe it destroys all spells and traps. Or is it just your opponent's spells and traps?
I think it's just your opponent. No, it is all. I think it is all. Or an Unchu is all, at least.
You can destroy all spells and traps on the field except void cards.
Yeah. Oh, what a mill!
More food! More food for the deck.
Wow, that's a lot of Infernoids.
And Fairy Tale Snow coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can afford that. Just barely.
Yeah.
If he throws everything in there, I mean, I think he can bring it back one more time.
Yeah, and here's a fun thing, because he's got so many cards to work with now, he can just keep bringing back the Fairy Tale Snow and climb the Link ladder.
Yeah.
He could go out to Borlow Dragon if he wanted to, and then just bring back more Infernoid monsters. But he said, I think he goes up to Decode. Yep.
Yeah.
I think he has a plan. Like, call me crazy, but I got this feeling.
And yep, and then we're going to see a Mechaba. That is a field. That is a field.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's in absolute autopilot mode.
Yeah.
He's just like running through this. He's done this a million times before.
Like the only thing that hurt him a little bit was the anti-spell fragrance on turn 1.
Yeah.
But then Dominik being completely unable to deal with any of the set cards, meant the anti-spell fragrance didn't put enough work in.
It's 3/3 Decode Talker.
And then he just throws out his Alistair.
1,000 Alistair.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that is it. Great comeback from Marjin van Duivenboden. That was quite the feel in the third
there
game.
was a reluctant handshake from Dominik there.
That was a great game.
All right, guys, let's talk about it in our post-match analysis. Whew, what a blowout. What a blowout. After that first match, it was a bit contested.
I think this is literally the best matchup for Marjin, is because there is no Ash Blossom, and Ash Blossom is prevalent in absolutely everything else.
Yeah.
And this is probably the one time Dominik kicks himself for not being able to play it in his deck.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't going to be because Marjin, loses Void Imagination being really, really strong, but
So
didn't seem to play it.
how good of a choice is Infernoid for this tournament?
I think it's pretty good. It's up there as far as the like tier 2 decks are concerned.
We heard a
anyway.
couple of experienced players yesterday when we talked to them, and they did say they play Infernoid. So
Yeah.
there seems to be something about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it one of the tier 1 decks that we have, but certainly
Yeah,
it's up
It's
there.
up there.
It's on the list of tier 2 if you did want to push out with that. That's a
Yeah.
pretty respectable deck to go into a
Yeah.
tournament with.
I mean,
Alright.
don't
Like,
get us wrong
same
when we
with
say
Draco
like
as well.
tier 1 and tier 2. Like, we're not saying that tier 2 will never ever win, just that
The
it's less seen.
statistics are not
Yeah,
in their
exactly.
favor. Yeah. All right. Just to quickly recap, we had the match between Dominik Reisinger from Germany against Marjin from the Netherlands. In the first game, it was kind of interesting because there was a situation where Dominik could have searched for Masterpiece.
Yeah, and then
And
he
it
didn't.
seemed like that was the correct move. He did not go for that. Like, it
No.
was a bit of a back and forth before that, so they
Mm.
both had invested some resources. He searched for the Maiden, and I think in the end, it looked like he had a plan
Yeah, it
with
was-
this whole thing. He wanted to have a Masterpiece that is unaffected by monsters, and he could get that later by tributing.
Yeah, he ultimately got himself in a position where he could have done that and then chose not to. He tributed his 2 spell or trap cards,
Yeah.
and then he enabled the Fairy Tale Snow to become
Yeah.
a factor in the
yeah,
game.
which is
But
really weird.
even that seemed weird at the time, but that also turned out rather well for him. Because he knew, okay, you can stop me for one
Yeah.
turn, but after that,
Yeah.
I'm 100% the winner.
Yeah,
So second game was very quick. Like, my only note says grass looks greener.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to write.
That is, yeah.
Yeah.
So no way to stop that, and then all
Game
of a
3
sudden,
was the same.
infinite resources.
Yeah.
And the third game, I would say, I guess you guys agree, it's almost the same thing. Grass looks green. Although we have to throw in an anti-spell fragrance.
Yeah, that was definitely a
Looked
spanner
like
in the
a
works.
good opening hand by Dominik, who could stop his opponent a little bit, dead in his tracks, but he couldn't apply enough pressure, and then that was all she wrote.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of decks and the metagame, we have, well, not we, I don't want to take credit for that. Our judges, our dedicated judges, have been able to take the information of all the decks of all the players in the tournament into software, and I think we're going to be able to show you guys some stats. Let's try this for a change. Here we go. This is our black and white. This used to be in color back when I was doing this regularly.
Back in my day.
Black and
You can see the little millennium symbols around.
Oh, okay.
You
The
see
hi-
it?
you mean the hieroglyphs?
Yeah, the hieroglyphs. Sorry,
Oh,
you,
okay,
you
okay.
can't really see it on our monitor because it's quite dark. But
Okay, so here
yeah.
in monochrome, we got our deck breakdown for this tournament. As is often the case, other is the most popular deck, which tells us that there's either...
Matt, you need to sort this other deck out.
Yeah,
Right,
really.
it's on my to-do list.
Way too strong. No, but this shows us that a lot of players came with their own home-brewed decks to the tournament.
Diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you keep in mind, ABC, 39 players, even if we assume that after that everybody's playing 39 of one deck,
Yeah.
we still have 10 different decks, and,
Yeah.
and that's like worst case scenario. So it's much more likely that we have like 20 other decks.
Yeah.
Of course, probably 30. So Spiral taking the crown this weekend. Not that surprising, I guess.
No, based on the results from YCS San Diego and what other data has come back from regionals, that would be... everyone builds their deck because of Spirals. Spirals sets the pace. So it is absolutely the best deck, and as we heard from Joshua Smith earlier, the going second build adds way more options to your deck as well. So it doesn't surprise me. Trickstar has grown significantly in popularity, probably also based on the success from YCS San Diego. And it's actually, this looks a lot healthier than what we saw in London, where we had like Spiral
Right.
way up there and there was absolutely nothing that could compete
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we assume that 50% of your opponents want to go first, which is pretty conservative, I would guess, because it's probably more likely that 70% of all players want to go first. And then you add to that you always want to go second, at least in 75% of all the cases, if my maths is to be believed,
Yeah.
you're going to be going second. So very good news for players like Joshua who built their deck in that fashion.
Yeah.
And so how many of these decks could you roughly sort into? I mean, it's either Spiral or anti-Spiral. I can fill in the Spiral part, that is Spiral. But which decks are specifically built to combat Spiral?
I think anyone who's taking the tournament seriously, regardless of anything they're playing that isn't Spiral, is playing something anti-Spiral.
Okay.
I
The
think
sheer
that's-
number of hand traps.
Yeah, I think that's generally how the breakdown will work.
All right.
Anybody else?
Do we have anything else in terms of stats for you guys?
Yeah, we do.
Of
We have-
course.
We have the country breakdown.
Here is the country breakdown, and this country breakdown is making a very strong case that the Czech Republic might, after all, be a colony of Germany. But I don't want to get into too specifics here. No, of course, it being so close to Germany allows so many places. Like Dresden is like 1.5 hours away, for example. A couple of people are living there. From Berlin, it took me less than 4 hours to get here. So lots and lots of players from all the eastern parts of Germany have a very short trip. And this in turn explains why we don't see that many Italian players who are usually coming out in droves to those larger events. Because for them, it's a bit harder to get here. Like their drive is not fun.
Yeah.
And then we got the UK in third place a couple of years back. That was absolutely unbelievable. But it seems like the UK community is healthy, is growing, and we have quite a few guys that are dedicated and coming to these tournaments.
Yeah, puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, wherever they are. So the big interesting thing is going to be how is this going to develop over the course of the weekend. Later on, we can show you what the current country breakdown, not after round 1, but after round 4 or something, is going to be like. My prediction, as always, Italy is going to go up in relative numbers. So right now, Italy is like 1/10 of the field, and after round 8, after the end of day 1, there's probably going to be like 75 players from Italy remaining.
Yeah.
So in terms of relative numbers, they're going to go up dramatically.
I don't think this is going to move. It rarely does. I mean, occasionally maybe the larger countries tend to swap a little bit, but I think we're going to just see like everything halved essentially. I don't think it's going to move that much.
Okay, I would be willing to bet money on that it's not the case, because Italy, like I said, in relative numbers is going to stay up. The UK in relative numbers doesn't tend to do so well.
No.
Okay, I thought
That's not too sad.
somebody's going to try and fight me on this, but
No.
no. Okay, good that we established that's a fact.
But there are a few UK players who are an absolute powerhouse. So
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that doesn't mean they are without chance. And of course, Germany's going to lose the most players because they have the most players in the tournament. But maybe 300 or something are going to remain at the end of the day. Something like that. All right, guys. So now you have an understanding of what the country breakdown looks like. You have an understanding to a rough degree what the metagame is going to be like. You guys also talked about the metagame yesterday.
Yep.
We might be showing you that in between rounds because we're going to take another short break. And then we're going to be back for round 4 from YCS Prague.